Yo, what's going on? It is UFC 309 Fight Week, and today I'm here to bring you my predictions and full card breakdown. So, without further ado, we got to start from the bottom, make our way up. This card is terrible, by the way. I'll say that. This card, other than this fight right here, it's awful. It's just such a low quality card. But without further ado, starting off in the women's flyweight division, Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Moura. I got Veronica Hardy, and there is no breakdown to this 30-27 decision for Veronica Hardy because I believe in terms of woman fighters, she's actually decently skilled. And yeah, that's all I really got. Eduardo Mora uh sucks. Veronica Hardy's gonna win. Moving on, Basel Havez versus Oban Elliott. I have Oban Elliott 29-28 decision. Basel Hafez took JDM to a split decision to then go life and death with Mickey Gall, who's right above him in the card, funny enough. But I just don't think Basel Hafez is that good. I don't think Oban Elliott's that good either, but I feel like he's going to be able to not expose Basel Hafez grappling, but be able to out grapple him. And Oban Elliott's striking is coming along. It looked better in his last fight at UFC 305, and I think it's only going to get better. And Basel Hafez isn't good if you're going life and death with Mickey Gall. So yeah, moving on. Speaking of Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Brahamin, however you say that. I got Mickey Gall via round one submission. Now, picking Mickey Gall to win a fight is despicable, really. This guy, he got his original name from beating CM Punk, of all people. You know, he beat CM Punk. That's what really got his name on the map. But other than that, like he hasn't beat anybody. He beat Sage Northcutt, lost to Randy Brown, beat George Sullivan, lost to Diego Sanchez. I mean, he's losing to people whose names I know, but they're not the best people ever. He doesn't beat anybody good, but I don't think Ramiz Bra, however you say his name, is on the same level as a Mike Perry or a Randy Brown or a Diego Sanchez or a Mike Mallet. Like this guy is just not as good as any of those names, and so I think this is somebody that Mickey Gall can beat and will beat. Moving on, we have Marcin Tybura versus Janata Deniz. I got Janata Deniz. Originally, I was going to pick Marcin Tybura, but then I really took a good look at it, and anytime he faces a decent striker, he just can't seem to win. Like Marcin Tybura, he has losses to who did he lose to? I know he lost to Derek Lewis, which I said decent striker, but I digress. Like he'll be able to beat a Tai Tuivasa, but he loses to a Pavlovich and an Aspinall and a Volkov. Now I don't think Janata Deniz is on any of those guys' levels at all. But you're looking at the names that Marcin Tybura is beating. A Tai Tuivasa, I think Janata Deniz beats him. A Blago Ivanov, Janata beats him. Alexander Romanov, I would be tricky, but I think Deniz beats him. Walt Harris, Greg Hardy, Ben Rothwell, and nobody else matters, pretty much. Old man Arlovsky, but he loses to Fabricio Verdum, Derek Lewis, Shamil Abdukariminov, whatever, Augusto Sakai. He gets knocked out by all these people, and I think this is just a fight where we're going to see Marcin Tybura get. I don't know if I was picking methods for these fights. But I got Deniz via round one knockout. I said Gall round one submission, Oban Elliott 29-28 decision, and Veronica Hardy 30-27. But yeah, this fight, Janata Deniz versus round one KO TKO. Now, if Tybor is able to get a really early takedown, it could be interesting, but I'm just betting on that not happening, and I think Janata Deniz is going to get this done pretty early by knockout. Not like flatline knockout like TKO, but it's my prediction in round one. Moving on, David Onama versus Lucas Almeida. Now, I did not see this fight, so we're gonna get a little research done right now. Let's see. Who have these guys fought ever? It's not on the UFC website. This fight must have been canceled. That's probably why I don't have it. So yeah, moving on. Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. Now I was looking. This fight's a tricky one, but after my extensive research, I am picking Jim Miller to win by knockout. Like a TKO, not knockout, flatline, but round two TKO. I just don't think Damon Jackson's very good. Now he's only lost to good people. I will say that, except his last couple. But his only losses are to Ilya Taporia, Dan Ige, Billy Quarantillo, who is starting to fall off a little bit, but and Chepe Mariscal, who I think is pretty good. But he's only losing to good people. But I feel like Jim Miller is just he's just on that line. Like he's just on that line of where Damon Jackson probably can't beat him, but it would be close. And I mean, Damon Jackson is bringing up from the lighter weight classes who usually have skill, but this guy just had a split decision with Alexander Hernandez, which I thought Hernandez could have won if I remember correctly. But yeah, man, this guy just hasn't beaten anybody impressive. Jim Miller had Bobby Green rocked a couple of times. I know Bobby Green's chin isn't great, but he had Bobby Green rocked a couple of times, and that means something. And I just think Jim Miller's gonna be able to knock him out in round two, TKO probably. Like round two, ground and pound TKO. Maybe rocks him up against the fence. He eats a couple good shots, and the ref steps in. Moving on, Chris Weidman, Edward Scissorhands Weidman versus Eric Anders. All right, so Chris Weidman did not look amazing in his last fight, but Eric Anders is just terrible. So I think Weidman's going to win this by 30-27 decision because I was looking at both of their records, like both of their past opponents. Um, Weidman came back. He beat Bruno Silva, granted with eye pokes, but I think he was on his way to a win anyway. And you look at Eric Anders, who he fights. He barely beat Jamie Pickett. He got knocked down by Jamie Pickett. He lost to Marc-Andre Barriot. He beats Kyle Dawkins, who's not in the UFC anymore. Losing to Jung Young Park, Andre Muniz. Like, this guy, Christoph Joko, like, you gotta be kidding me, man. This guy doesn't beat anybody. He beat GM3, the mighty GM3, but he doesn't beat anybody else. He took Lyoto Machida to a split decision back in the day, but that doesn't mean anything. It's not relevant now. So yeah, I don't think Eric Anders is good at all, and I think Chris Weidman at a plus 100 underdog. I just noticed I'm picking a lot of underdogs. That's my third underdog in a row between Denise, Jim Miller, and Chris Weidman. So that's kind of crazy. And I will be picking another underdog in Jonathan Martinez. Who are these odds makers, man? What the hell? This is an underdog central. But yeah, so Weidman decision. Fucking, I don't know. 30-27 decision for Weidman. I could care less. Moving on, Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. I got Jonathan Martinez. 30-27 decision. Like, two scorecards have a 30-27, one has a 29-28. I just think the leg kicks are devastating. And I don't really understand why he's an underdog. Like, Jonathan Martinez, he lost to Jose Aldo, but that's Jose freaking Aldo. And other than that, this guy has not lost since 2021, other than the Aldo fight. But he beat Adrian Yanez and he beat Saeed Nurmagomedov and Cub Swanson. His last three wins, like that's gotta mean something. Like who's Marcus McGee beat? Marcus McGee beat nobody. JP Buys is probably his best win. That's terrible. That's terrible, man. No, JP Buys is not his best win. What the fuck am I talking about? His best win is probably Gaston Bolanos, but yeah, I don't know. Jonathan Martinez is gonna school this guy. He's gonna beat him pretty handily on the feet, leg kicks, jabbing him at range, straight rights. That's why I think the fight Jonathan Martinez is gonna have. Maybe he'll rock Marcus McGee at one point, but I don't see him being able to get the finish. But Martinez at a plus 120 underdog, unless that's wrong, that's insane to me. I feel like that's great value. It's very. I feel like this is easy to pick. Like don't know. Moving on, into the main card, Mauricio Ruffy versus James Lontop. Mauricio Ruffy's gonna KO him fucking stiff in round one. This isn't gonna be close. I don't really want to talk about this one too much. Mauricio Ruffy is the Brazilian McGregor from Fighting Nerds, and James Lontop is desperately trying to find his footing in the UFC and stay. But he just came off a fight against Borishev in August. It's kind of recent for the type of fight it was. It was a pretty back and forth fight. But other than that, he lost to Chris Padilla and beat Malik Lewis. Chris Padilla, I don't really know much about that guy, but I digress. James Lontop's going to lose to Mauricio Ruffy. Ruffy is going to keep the fighting nerd streak alive by round one knockout. Yeah, that's all I really got to say. He's just so much better than James Lontop and Lontop's no threat to. I don't. Nope. James Lontop is no threat to him. What's like the reach and shit? Ruffy has the reach even though he's shorter by an inch. Yeah, man. It's not gonna be close. Moving on, Vivian Araujo versus Karine Silva. Now these odds are kind of crazy on this fight. I feel like it should be a little closer. I do have Karine Silva winning, but a plus 215 is a good value underdog for this type of fight. I have Karine Silva getting a sub in round one. I mean, Vivian Araujo, it's hard to she's hard to put away. She's coming off a loss to Natalia Silva, but she's just such like a win one lose one type of fighter. Like she won two, lost one, won two, lost one, won one, lost two, won one, lost one, coming off a loss. She's just so mid, and I feel like this is just about the level of fighter that she can't surpass. Like she won't be able to beat a Karine Silva, but anybody below a Karine Silva she could probably beat. And Karine Silva's just on a win streak like no other. She's on a 5-fight win streak in the UFC. All 5 fights, all of her 5 fights in the UFC, she's won. 4 of them by sub. Her last one by decision to Ariane Silva. But yeah, I don't think this is gonna be close. I take that back. Holy shit, I can't talk today. This is gonna be close. It's gonna be competitive up until Karine Silva gets the sub. But it's not going to be blown out of the water. 215 plus 215 for Vivian Araujo is great value. So if you're betting, that's not a bad thing to take. And yeah, moving on. Bo Nickal versus Paul Craig. Paul Craig, Scotland. Bo Nickal's going to win. But this is another one. Plus 750 is fantastic underdog odds for Paul Craig. I wouldn't count Paul Craig out this much against Bo Nickal. I think Bo Nickal's going to knock him out in late round one, early round two, like ground and pound TKO, not like knock him out stiff. But this is like, it, Paul Craig can do that. He should be a plus 215 underdog. Maybe like 350. But plus 750 is horrific odds. I think Bo Nickal's going to win, but there's no way these odds should be here. Because I get a feeling that Paul Craig might be able to pull off a submission. Like, I don't think it's going to happen, but the fight just kind of gives off that vibe. Like, Paul Craig, he's beaten Magomed Ankalaev by sub. He's beaten Jamal Hill by sub. He's beaten these guys, but then he'll go lose to Johnny Walker. He's just so random. Yeah, he beat Nikita Krylov. He beat Shogun. That doesn't mean shit, to be honest. But, like, yeah, he lost to. I didn't even know he fought Clear Roundtree. But yeah, he beats Magomed Ankalaev. He then loses to Jimmy Crute his next fight by sub. Bro, like this guy's so inconsistent. Anything could happen in this fight, really. Like this is anybody's fight. But I got Bo Nickal winning by ground and pound TKO. Moving on, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. The rematch that nobody saw coming and nobody really asked for. Coming off a 2-year layoff, I got Charles do Bronx Oliveira. Charles do Bronx Oliveira, round 2 sub. He's going to get him by rear naked choke. I just know. Chandler's going to come out firing on all cylinders in round 1. And he's going to tag Oliveira a couple times, maybe knock him down once, but Oliveira's going to be so defensively sound off his back that Chandler won't be able to land ground and pound and like grind and pound TKO him in round 2. But I just don't like that Michael Chandler's coming off that 2 year layoff where he thought he was fighting McGregor. He was trying to. Oh man. But yeah, winner of this fight, I could see going on to fight Max Holloway for the BMF belt. If you watched my other video, my last video on all the UFC pay-per-views coming up that I think are gonna happen in 2025, you get a little hint about who I thought was gonna win this fight. But Charles Oliveira, and I think he's gonna fight for the BMF against Max Holloway. Maybe look for a McGregor winner of this. Can maybe look for a McGregor fight, but I just don't see that guy ever coming back. That's why I have Max Holloway. But yeah, I Michael Chandler is just too wild. If he fights smart, he can beat Oliveira 1,000%. But smart is just not this guy's thing. He's gonna go looking for the round one kill, and I don't think he's gonna find it. And I think Oliveira is gonna survive round one, will lose round one, but Chandler in round two is just gonna be gonna be a little too gassed. And I think Oliveira's gonna get him in the they're gonna be in the clinch on the cage, and Chandler's gonna try to get out of it, and Oliveira's gonna backpack him like in the first fight. And if Chandler goes to his back, like flings to his back like he did in the first one when he tried to get Oliveira off his back by smashing into the ground, I feel like Oliveira is gonna be able to survive it this time, like keep him there, and find the rear naked choke. Moving on to the main event that nobody wants because this should be Tom Aspinall, and Stipe has not fought in years. The title is, the thumbnail is misleading. I have Jon Jones 49-46, lackluster, boring decision. I feel like Stipe is going to have a good round two. That's the round he's going to win. Jon Jones is going to come out in round one. Side control, ground and pound, elbows, 12-6 elbows. Because you know he's going to be looking to land those just because they made them legal. But round one, they're going to be in the feet for about 2 minutes. I think Stipe is going to land a couple leg kicks. Jon Jones is going to miss an oblique kick. He's going to miss oblique kicks, I think, in round one. But Stipe is going to land the lead leg kick, lead inside leg kick on Jones. Jones will keep switching stances, trying to threaten a takedown from different angles. Stipe is going to be piecing him up in the boxing. Not like Rock and Jones or anything, but just like a jab here and there. Maybe slip a Jones jab, land a straight right of his own. That's not that powerful, but just enough to get Jones thinking. And yeah, about a minute and a half into the round, Jon Jones will secure a takedown and just start wailing on Stipe on the ground, hammer fists, elbows, and yeah, he's gonna ride the round out like that. We're gonna get to round two. Stipe Miocic is gonna start defending and stuffing the takedowns of Jon Jones. He's gonna start landing his jab more. He's gonna start landing the straight right, a couple more leg kicks, maybe a couple straight rights to the body to try to tire Jones out. In the clinch, some body punches, and I feel they're gonna keep it standing the entire round two. And Stipe's gonna win. If it stays standing, Stipe wins. But then we get to round three, and round three is gonna be a repeat of round one all the way up until round five. Jon Jones is gonna stink out this decision. I don't think he'll find the finish on Stipe, who's got a great chin. And he is a good defensive wrestler. I don't see Jon Jones finding a submission against Stipe Miocic, which seems to be a common theme around people picking Jon Jones. But I just don't think it'll be enough. I don't think his submission threat is good enough. And we've never seen Jon Jones really put out anybody on the feet like that. Like, he landed the head kick on Daniel Cormier, but he's got pillow fists for these heavier weight classes. He doesn't really rock anybody with his fist all that often. He'll get ground and pound TKOs after maybe landing a kick or just taking them down and all the pressure on the ground, all the volume on the ground. But this guy's not going to land any punches that rock or knock out Stipe. I don't think Stipe's submission defense is that bad that Jones will find a submission. But Stipe's going to look really busted up after all those elbows and punches on the ground. But, yeah, that's my pick. I have Jon Jones, 49-46 decision. People are going to cry. I feel like people will say robbery just because early in these rounds, Stipe is going to be outlanding him on the feet, and everybody's going to call for damage, but all the damage is going to be from Jones on the ground. Maybe he'll like threaten some submissions, but I don't think he'll get them per se. But yeah, that's how I see this fight going. That's how I see this whole card going. So just to run it back, I got Veronica Hardy unanimous decision, Oban Elliott unanimous decision, Mickey Gall round 1 sub, Janata Denise round 1 knockout. This fight's not happening. Jim Miller round 2 KO TKO. Chris Weidman via what did I say 30-27 decision. I got Jonathan Martinez via decision, I believe. Yeah, I got Jonathan Martinez by decision. Mauricio Ruffy, however you say it, by round 1 knockout. I have Kareem Silva round 1 sub, Bo Nickal round 2 KO, Oliveira round 2 sub, and Jon Jones, the GOAT, 49-46 unanimous decision, boring decision. We're gonna get Dana White at the post press con. Oh, also another thing, I think they're both retiring, ducking Aspinall. And no matter who wins, they're both gonna retire. And I mean, unless if Stipe wins, Jon Jones might stick around. But if Stipe win or loss, Stipe is gonna retire. And if he beats Jon Jones will come back and fight Tom for the vacant belt. Or well, I guess not vacant belt because Tom will be the interim champ and he'll get to defend it. But his first defense will be Jon Jones. That's funny. But yeah. So that's my predictions for this card, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.